I am not great at this, apparently, and that is maybe okay. And I'm just going to make sure that I am loaded and ready to go on the computer here so I can watch what's going on. Hello, everybody. Um, and of course it's not showing up because why would it show up? Oh, maybe I have to change out of here. I can't watch my own stream. That is possible. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday night. I'm super duper looking forward to having this puffin finished. Here we go. I've got us here. And you can see my hand mousing, and I'm going to move it now. And we're going to watch the chat, and we're ready to go. Excellent. So I have done some, tonight we're going to do the actual sewing. I'm going to do a lot of the work off camera just because there's a lot of like little fiddly bits that happen with this. So I've done some of the work ahead of time. Got most of the units together, and I'm going to demonstrate on the head unit, but you can see like it's all these little pieces, and there's lots of like cutting and ironing and cutting and ironing and cutting and ironing. And I've got my tailor's clapper here. I was talking about this in the Notions video. So what you do with this is once you've got this all ironed, you just stick this on top like that, and that's going to hold down the heat into these seams and flatten them up. So I'm going to move this stuff to the side for now, and we're going to get into the actual stitch and flip part. And so you can see here I've got all of these are all of the pieces that you need just to sew the puffin's face, and there's a lot. And this is why I suggested the labels, because this piece and this piece look very similar to each other. And these two pieces look very similar to each other. These two pieces look very similar to each other. So without labels, you really don't know. When you are sewing, be careful, check your instructions, because there are instructions that show how to make the puffin face left or how to make the puffin face right, and it will change based on the angle that you're sewing. I'm sewing with the puffin facing right, just in case you're wondering. So you start out by taking and follow your directions. There's verbal, like written directions, and then there are diagrams as well. So with stitch and flip, and I've got the 1/4-inch seam tape on my machine right now, which saves me from having to mark each piece, because otherwise what I would have to do is I would put this piece on here, and I would have to mark a diagonal line here. I'm going to change this. Boy. Oh, I've got fluffies everywhere. I did vacuum, and there's still fluff everywhere. There's so much fluff in sewing. So you'd have to put this here. You can use clips. Honestly, the piece is so small and it's a little grippy, I don't bother. I would have to mark a line here, and then you're going to sew along that line. But with the diagonal seam tape, I can just line it up and sew it. So that's what I'm going to do to start. Go over to the sewing machine here. I've got everything set up and ready to go. And if I haven't linked the diagonal seam tape video, I will do that at the end of this, so you can see exactly how to use the diagonal seam tape. Okay. So, oh, I think I made a mistake. I think I absolutely, oh no, I didn't make a mistake. We have this unit, and we have another unit with, I'm trying to read there's so many pieces that your brain is not going to hold them all in in place, and I'm trying to read the instructions without giving away what this pattern is, because the pattern designer worked hard, and we don't want to give it away for free, but we do want to show you how to stitch and flip. So same thing. So I'm going to do that, and then you'll see what happens. And actually what I might do, so there's my line, and what I would normally do is rotary cut this, but what I'm going to do for the sake of demonstration is I'm going to cut it with scissors, just so you can see. So we've stitched, and now we need to flip this piece down, but you have to cut this piece off. So you measure your 1/4 inch seam allowance. And like I said, normally what I would do, I don't have a small enough mat to do this. Normally what I would do is I would just rotary cut that, but I'm going to mark this like this. And these are the wrong kinds of scissors, but that's okay because they're what I have handy. Okay, and then from there, what we're going to do is flip this down. This is where we suggest that you iron your seams open, because just if you look at how, like the beak unit, look at how bulky all of that is in the back. And so if you had your seams nested, it would get really, really, really thick through here. So I'm going to go do the same thing with this, and I'm going to come back and we're going to do the next step. There's a lot of ironing in this. And if I was being completely honest, I would normally be taking my time and really letting these pieces sit on the wool pressing mat. I hope you could hear me. I would really let these pieces sit on the wool pressing mat. If this was like normal times. Okay, so these pieces go here, and then this guy goes here, and this guy goes here like this. And so we're going to sew this to this. And you can see, like, these pieces are so small. Like, and poorly cut on my part, apparently. Like, I'm not going to worry about that. I may end up with slightly less than a 1/4 inch seam here, but it's not going to make a huge difference. So I'm going to sew that. And I don't bother with pinning or anything. The pieces are so tiny that my fingers can usually just keep them together. Okay, so that goes like that. I'm going to have to go and iron this open, because then this piece is going to sew to this side and this piece is going to sew to this side. So I'll be back in a second again. Lots of ironing. Lots of ironing. Please, for anyone who's watching me, let me know if you've got questions about this. This is where it's good to have, like a mini iron next to your setup, though I find it's not heavy. It's not heavy enough. I like a really heavy iron, and that helps to keep the seams, make the seams flat. Remove my seam tape out of the way here. So we got that piece there, and then we've got this piece goes like this. And I can't see on my screen if anybody even is watching. Let me know if you're watching. Leave me a comment, because the phone is upside down. And I am watching from my personal profile so I can, you know, keep track of chat comments. Actually, maybe that's what I have to do here. Hang on a second, because this is top chat. Maybe if I do live chat. Excellent. So say hi to me. Let me know you're out there in cyberspace. Sewing a puffin. Okay, so you can, I'm going to come back there in a second, and you're going to see just how busy this part is. So take a look at the back of there. So you've got, you know, this seam here, and you've got this seam across here, and you've got this seam in here. And when you turn it over, there's the beginning of our puffin's eye. So the next little part, so what's happening as you're doing this stitch and flip method is that you're building out from each piece. So this is the beginning of our face, and then we're going to put our next piece here and do another stitch and flip. And what that's going to do is that's going to start shaping the face. So it is a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's wasteful, but it does, obviously you're losing little corner bits. You could, you know, you could save them for something. Definitely on some of the larger pieces, I usually do save what I am sewing. Like, let me see if I can grab it here. This is from the body. Like that's a huge chunk of fabric. So I'm going to save that. But like the little ones, unless you're into crumb quilting, you know, it's not really worth it. And you can see how many times I'm having to do this diagonal sewing. This is where having your pieces starched means that the bias is not warping. And at the same time, using the seam tape means that I am not having to stop and mark every piece. There are so many pieces. So there we go. I've done my next set of stitching. And so we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to measure here. I'll do it on this guy. So find my stitching. It's a little hard sometimes, I find, with the white. Okay, so we're going to measure that. I'm going to mark it. Like I said, if this was, you know, me working on my own, I'd use the rotary cutter for demonstration purposes. We got the scissors tonight. And then, see, ta-da, it's beginning to be his face. So I'm going to go iron these and come back again. Maybe I should sing. I don't know how well you can hear me off camera. And if I start singing, are you going to hear me singing? Are you going to hear me rambling, talking to myself? And Caitlin is going to make a video out of this for Instagram, which is going to be hilarious. So what we're going to do, this guy goes here like this. So this is now becoming his face. So we're starting to get bigger. We can definitely, you know, stick a clip on there. Go over here. And if you're finding that your seams want to flip up as you're sewing, this is where using a stiletto will help you get them under the foot. Or you can you know, you could finger press them first. So yep, we got to go iron that. And then there's another piece. always more pieces. I'm going to give this guy a second here. That really needs to sit for a second. So you can, and I'm going to flip it over, and you're going to see it really, really is a very thick seam at that point. I have pieces here that I don't know why I have. Oh, I know why I have them. That's why I have them. It's like, why do I have those? I shouldn't have those. All right. So this guy goes here. And then oh, and I promised you I'd flip this over. Hang on a second. So you can see right where I had just sewn these two pieces together, like it's really bulky. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it flipped over there. It's quite bulky through there. So not easy to sew through. So definitely iron your seams open, not to the side. Don't nest your seams. And, you know, I spoke with some people last week, and they said, you know, they were hemming and hawing about joining us for this. And they were like, well, I don't know if I can really do it. You can see from everything that I'm doing, if you can sew a 1/4 inch seam, you're good. That's all you need to know how to do. Consistent 1/4 inch seams. And the rest of it is just, you know, cutting and sewing and ironing. So much ironing. Folks who are watching, let me know if you've got questions about this stitch and flip method. If it is unclear, anything that I have said. And you can see there is our shaped puffin face. And so we're going to, I'm going to put together the whole block. We got to do a couple more here because his head isn't square. So we got to do one more stitch and flip here. We got to do this one here. And it's really important that, you know you've watched videos with me before. I've been like, oh yeah, you can do this thing out of order. This one you really sort of can't because of how things are being put together. They really do need to be done in a very specific order. So, oh, that didn't work. Didn't cut. So here is my stitch. So there's my stitch, and we're going to flip it up like that, and same thing there. So I'm going to go cut those, and I will come back, and we will have a puffin face. Now, one question you may be asking yourself is, what do I do with a single block when I am finished? And I have a couple of ideas. You can see this is not square. This is really poorly cut on my part. I'm not going to worry about this. What I'll do is when I go to finish this, I will likely just adjust my seam. So a couple ideas of what you can do with, you know, a single puffin block. You could create a pillow. I'll link a tutorial at the end of this video. You could, here's our body. Just making sure here. So here's the block. So you can see I've got stitch and flips here and here, and this guy's going to go on like this. You could applique him onto a sweatshirt. I've seen some really nice sweaters done like that, sweatshirts done like that. Take like an old sweater and upcycle it. You could do the same thing with a tote bag. I'm not quite certain what is going to happen with this guy. He might get turned into a pillow or he might get turned into a tote bag. We're going to see. So we're going to complete this block tonight, and then from there, I have to stop and iron. Happens every time. There we go. So once you've got all of your units together, it's the same as piecing any other quilt. So this unit is going to go on like this, and this unit goes on like this, and then that guy goes along the bottom. Something seems kind of funky here, so I'm going to just... oh, that's what it is. I've misjudged my seam here. Oh, so I'm going to have to re-sew that. But yes, if you are wanting to do the entire quilt, you will have to obviously do more than a single block. Follow the pattern. There's some other blocks that you'll need to create. And then finishing, we've got a couple of different quilt along videos where I demonstrate finishing techniques. Michelle's got a video where she talks about how to sew your backing together. We've got one for binding. So there's lots of quilt video resources on our YouTube page that will help you complete your quilt. If you're looking for someone to long arm it, we work with Magosha from Potty Mouth. Her contact information is on our website. Yeah, this did not sew the way I wanted it to. So we're gonna clip that there, and I'm just gonna run that through the machine again. You know, and this would make a really adorable I gotta fix something here. This would make a really adorable winter quilt, I think. Gift. A lovely gift for the holidays. Especially if you've got, you know, a puffin lover in your household. Or any of those patterns. There we go. So we put the back unit together, and here there's no real points on this side that you're trying to match up. There is a note in the pattern about matching up the beak point, and I will mention that briefly when we get over there in a second. This is like slightly larger than it's supposed to be. So we're gonna see what's going on there. I have cut something incorrectly somewhere. Accurate quilting starts with accurate cutting. And this seam doesn't want to stay open, and so I'm adjusting it. Here we go. Same thing here. I took a learn to quilt. Yeah, you can see this unit is larger than this one. I took a learn to quilt course years ago at Fabrications. That's how I started learning how to quilt. And my quilt teacher at the time said, you know, like, don't get bugged out about this kind of thing. Oh, you can't see it here. There. Don't get bugged out about this. This doesn't really matter. The fact that this looks like it's almost a 1/4 inch bigger. At the end of the day, as long as your blocks are a consistent size, that's what really matters. And so for this, it's a single block. I'm just going to trim that off, and it's going to be fine. Now let me just double check. So there is a note about the beak, and you want to make sure that the bottom of the beak lines up with the bottom of the face. So, and I will demonstrate my favorite method for this. This is called hanging pin. So let's make sure everyone can see this. You take a pin and you put it through the seam, and it's easy when your seams are open. And you put it through the back seam. And so now you know those seams are lined up. They're not going anywhere. And what you do is pin or clip, in my case, to either side of this pin. So this pin is just going through, you know, straight up and down, straight through vertically. And then you can remove the pin, and you know that that piece is lined up and it's not going everywhere. So that's, you know, anytime that you have like a Y seam that you need to line up, or a point that you want to make sure is really accurate, that hanging pin trick is great. And then yeah, this body is bigger than it's supposed to be. So I will have to square that up. So I'm going to go run this through the machine right now. There we go. Look at that. How nice that is. I'm going to go iron these seams. I'm going to go trim this piece here. Actually, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to get the real scissors out for this one. Living on the edge by doing this without marking it. There we go. Ooh, I cut very straight. So I'm going to go iron this, and we're going to go put on his feet, and then he is done. There are a couple spots here where I have definitely rushed through for the sake of expediency of a video. And I would spend a longer amount of time on the ironing board. And I will probably, you can see here, things are there's so many seams and they're not sitting flat. And this spot here too, this really needs that tailor's clapper to sit on top of them to be flat. So I will go back afterwards and just place that on top of there so that this this stays more flat. But for the sake of the video, I will not have everybody wait while I, you know, sit there. And honestly, like a good, you know, 3-4 minutes of sitting there with the tailor's clapper on it. I'll usually, you know, move on to some other step that's not dependent upon me working with the piece that's in my hand, though this is at the end, so I'll probably, you know, try to clean up. I really do try to leave my sewing space in a state where I can just go back to it to sew the next morning or the next time I have time. I found that if I don't have to clean up from my previous time, I'm much more likely to want to go back to it and have good results. Still, I don't know if anybody's watching. I don't know if anyone's got questions. We're almost at the end here. Just gonna iron the legs. Oh my God. It sewed his legs on upside down. I'm not going to iron his legs. I will not make you watch me do this. So hang on a second here, folks. There we go. 2 people watching. I am probably one of those 2 people. And that's okay. I don't know who the other person is. Hello, other person. Look at, sewed his legs on upside down. So, you know, this is the name of the game. Never be afraid to pull out your seam ripper. It's not a mistake that I can't undo. Everybody makes mistakes. I was not careful in what I was sewing, and that is what this is. And it, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's not something to beat yourself up on. I think he looks kind of funny. So there's your puffin. That's how you sew these. I will one day, I'm not going to do this on camera right now. I will show everybody how to seam rip properly. Sorry, my wheelie chair is wheeling all over the place. If you have questions on the rewatch, please pop them in the comment section. We do monitor them and we will answer your questions, and we love getting your comments. Post your finished puffins on Instagram and tag us. We can't see hashtags anymore. They've removed the functionality of hashtags. So tag us and let us know that you've sewn one of these guys. And this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you at the next make along, which is the Love Note sweater. Caitlin and Emily are going to be helming that. So if you are a knitter and you're ready for sweater weather, join us starting mid-September for that one. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Bye.